everyone. Good afternoon. This is the Public Works Committee of the Metro Council, scheduled to start at 5:15, but Budget and Finance was running long, and so it's just about 5:50, and we are getting underway. Mr. Cooper, if you could, for the record, would you please read all those that were present as you took roll before we went live? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Henderson, Allen, Evans, Gamble, Nash, Hurt, and Young.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Councilmember Henderson is Councilmember Roten. I'm present.
Thank you. Mr. Cooper, if you'll record that. And then Vice Chair, if you would please read the motion regarding Governor Lee's executive order and meeting online, please.
Pursuant to Governor Lee's executive order number 16 regarding electronic meetings, as extended by executive orders number 34 and 51, I make a motion that this committee meeting agenda constitutes essential business of the Metropolitan Council, and that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak.
Okay, thank you. It's a motion. We have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Chair Henderson, I also see that Councilmember Hall is present.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Hall. Okay, colleagues, we have a special request from Council Lady Stiles, who has brought a resolution regarding the 30th anniversary of the ADA, American for Disabilities. And so we're going to go a little bit out of order because she needs to get to another committee. But I did want to thank Council Lady Stiles and just invite her to share why she's bringing this. The ADA has so many implications on our public right-of-way and our sidewalks and our safe crossings. So I appreciate her having this referred to our committee. Council Lady Stiles, if you are present, you are recognized. Council Lady Stiles, are you present? Okay, colleagues, I'm going to, Council Lady Stiles had requested to go first, but I believe she has her other commitment in committee, so no worries. We will get to that matter just shortly. And so by way of just chair report or introduction, I want to thank Interim Director of Public Works, Shanna Whitelaw, for being present. I also believe we have Director of Engineering, Jorge Riveros is on the call. And Mr. Jeff Hammond is here to kind of update us on some things by way of staff report. Director Whitelaw, I have among the things to discuss today, just a brief update on Red River, and I'm not sure if it was you to be providing that or if you would like to speak to that just briefly.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I will speak to the Red River update. We are ongoing with our conversations with Red River to both the short-term plan as well as the long-term plan. Short-term, we are continuing to pick up trash, work with Red River, and they are picking up trash no later than Saturday. We have had some issues with delay service as well as what I like to call a little bit of quantity over quality issues that we are addressing with Red River regarding getting a little too quick and then getting sloppy and having trash on the street. So we are addressing that with them immediately and working toward that. As for the 5-day plan, we are continuing to work toward that and hope to bring that resolution to this committee in the near future. Open for conversations or questions if anybody has any.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Colleagues, any questions? Councilman O'Connell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I can save this for a bit. My comment and question was more about generally just following up on something from last time. I want to get a a deeper departmental update at some point. I know we're running behind tonight, but I think it would be helpful to understand sort of the new Public Works org chart strategy, evolution toward the Department of Transportation, what will happen at water, all of those things. So if tonight is not the night, I guess, and if it'd be helpful to submit that in writing outside the context of this meeting, I can do that as well. Madam Chair, I believe you are muted.
Thank you. Director Whitelaw, I think, I concur with Councilman O'Connell. I think, the council would like an update in that regard, but I don't want to kind of just do that on the fly here. So do you think that is something that you could provide at next meeting? I know you have, in your new role, have been so occupied with Red River to start and are, listening and meeting with staff and getting going. But do you think next meeting 2 weeks from now would be a good timing for that, just as far as an update on your work and your listening and the path forward in Public Works?
Yes, Chair. I can be ready to have some conversation, but really it is a much deeper dive than possibly everyone realizes. So I'm in sort of learning myself and trying to understand and make sure I understand all the workings of Public Works, and before I can get into how these things would work and what a change would be. So I would prefer a little more time if possible. I can give some update, but I think the more time I have to dive in deep and understand better, that I would be able to give a more accurate assessment of what's going on.
I appreciate that. Councilman O'Connell, are you open to that or friendly to that if we just kind of continue to confer and think if that might be, maybe what might we like to be shared in 2 weeks, but otherwise maybe wait a month or so? Would that be okay with you, or is there anything else you would like to share with Director Whitelaw that you would want to make sure that she includes when we determine the timing for that?
No, I'm perfectly fine with that. I just like there has been sort of a sudden announcement of moving parts. The staffing for this committee has changed. There has been talk that I don't have complete transparency into about sort of this merger concept, the Department of Transportation. I just want to understand this all as we go forward.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, colleagues. Director Whitelaw, also, as long as you were kind of on the line and engaged at this juncture, I did want to thank you as well for staff's response to me related to our bikeways and how we clean them and who cleans them. And, part of that's stormwater and part of it's Public Works and part of it's the state. And so I think we're still waiting on a little feedback from TDOT in particular. But colleagues, I had asked once Public Works gets that information to us that we kind of pull that together. I was getting a lot of contact from constituents about bike lanes and bikeways not being as clean as they would hope, and for some areas taking a while to clean up, but it looks like some of those may be state areas. So I just wanted to thank multiple members of Public Works staff for kind of getting back and chiming in on that, so we have all that information in one place. But Director Whitelaw, I don't know from your perspective, Ms. Waller on our staff kind of volunteered to pull all that together, but if that already exists in some form at Public Works in one place, or if that would be beneficial to your team as well, I would ask that we just kind of coordinate on getting all that together.
Yes, Chair, we can. I am unaware of it being all in one place. I'm appreciative of you pulling that together for us as well.
Okay, thank you so much. Director Whitelaw, is there anything else that you would like to share with the committee before we segue into a few more reports from Mr. Hammond?
No, ma'am, I do not. I will let Mr. Hammond take over.
Okay. Alrighty, colleagues, I do believe that we have Council Lady Stiles back on the line regarding her 30th anniversary of the ADA. resolution. Council Lady Stiles, if you are again present, you are recognized just briefly, and then Mr. Hammond can share some information about the ADA particular to Public Works. Ms. Stiles, you're recognized.
Chair, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, Council Lady, I can hear you. I'm going to mute my
Wonderful.
line.
Thank you so very much. So thank you, everyone. I do have a resolution for tomorrow night on the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, and I wanted to ask all of you to sign on. I have personal experience with accessibility. One of my parents was paralyzed, and so it was really important to have these opportunities accessible to them after when it was such a surprising change of life. And I was grateful to Councilwoman Henderson of bringing this to the committee so that a conversation regarding sidewalks can take place, because they are of vital importance. And of course, we all know all of our districts are in desperate need of them, but it is important that everyone can use the new sidewalk that comes to a district. And whether that is using a scooter, whether it is ambulatory, this is important. And I really wanted to acknowledge the existence and how it has benefited so many people. And to that end, one day we might be in need as well. So if you would all sign on, I'd be ever so grateful. Thank you so very much, Chair.
Okay, Councilor Lady Stiles, thank you so much for bringing this resolution. And I just thought, colleagues, that we would take the opportunity, as long as this was before us and before the body, just to kind of get a little update on the Americans with Disabilities Act and the implications that that has for our public right-of-way. I do want to acknowledge that I did get in touch with Mr. Sean Hinton and Mr. Jerry Hall. We also have Mr. David Lyles, who work under the umbrella of General Services on ADA compliance, but that touches all our metro facilities, but they also do work and inspection and approvals in the public right-of-way. Mr. Hall has worked for Metro for many, many years, and he did reach out to me, and we had a good conversation. So I just wanted to acknowledge and thank that ADA team of Metro. And then in looking at this online, I became aware of a 2019 review or kind of self-assessment that the Public Works Department had done regarding ADA compliance in sidewalks and in signalized crossings. And so by way of kind of first items among the things he is looking to report to us on, Mr. Hammond, you are recognized just to kind of give us an executive summary of what we would find in those reports. And then colleagues, that page and those reports were linked in your email today with your agenda. So I invite you to look at those in the future, but I thought Mr. Hammond could just sort of give us the top line of what we're looking at and how ADA is incorporated on capital project delivery and prioritization. Mr. Hammond, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair, and I appreciate you recognizing our colleagues over at General Services. They do a tremendous job, and we work with them almost on a daily basis in the development of sidewalks, both new and sidewalk repairs. And so the compliance report that they've put together includes a number of different items that are bigger than public works and bigger than sidewalks, although, you know, within the world of sidewalks, ADA compliance is a big issue in and of itself. So I'll concentrate my comments on how we use this report in trying to achieve compliance within the public right-of-way. It does include, I will say one other thing about transportation. It does include some language there that deals with WEGO and accessible public transportation, which is also a critical part, as Councilmember Stiles alluded to. It also gets into public building access points, including schools and so forth. And so all of those things are really key aspects of the compliance report. But when it gets to the transition plan, what this report does is a couple of things. First of all, it includes a major inventory, as you alluded to. The results of that inventory are available online, and those are linked from within the body of the report, so you can actually go in there and see thousands and thousands of incidences where we have identified shortcomings when it comes to ADA compliance. Those can be anything from cracks in the sidewalk that are larger than a certain threshold, raised portions of sidewalk, curb ramps that are either non-existent or outside of compliance thresholds, cross slope on sidewalk, how much it slopes, into or away from the roadway. All of these different types of things are defined within the transition plan and defined for us actually by the federal government. And so this plan is something that all jurisdictions have to do. We do ours on a biannual basis and update that to make sure that we are continuing to hone in on a more accessible transportation system when it comes, especially in this case, to pedestrian facilities. The way we use it on a day-to-day basis is we, as a rule of thumb, we set roughly 1/3 of our total capital sidewalk budget allotment aside for repairs, and those repairs include ADA compliance issues as well. And so we use the results of that inventory and the outcomes of this transition plan to help prioritize where those dollars are spent in terms of addressing the most critical ADA issues first. And that's identified in this plan. What we consider to be a critical issue, all of that has to be defined, and it's defined within that study. So for instance, we see the lack of any curb ramps as being a higher priority than we might see, a sidewalk that's not quite level. It's that type of thing that helps guide our decisions in making sidewalk repairs. It also talks about the process that we follow when we get requests for accommodation, and someone who may have access issues can make those conditions known, and that elevates those requests again from our priority standpoint. So I won't go into a lot more detail than that, other than just I appreciate, Chair, you highlighting that, bringing it to the attention of the committee, and know that it is available online, and that we use that as in the course of our duties every day.
Colleagues, does anybody have questions for Mr. Hammond regarding ADA compliance and prioritization? Okay, Councilor Gamble, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Actually, my question is, I appreciate Mr. Hammond's report for the ADHA, but my question was referring to the earlier conversation about reports, and just wanting to add that several meetings ago we had discussed getting an update on sidewalk projects and paving projects, and just wondered when we may get that report. So projects that were in previous cycles, last fall, summer, and of course spring, that haven't occurred yet.
Councilor, I appreciate that reminder. Colleagues that are new to the body, we have for the past 2 years had an annual update prior to the budget season in April of our walk and bike strategic plan, and through that have kind of presented a report on where are we on sidewalks, where are we on bikeways, and that has kind of provided an annual check. Mr. Hammond, I believe there is a summary report for sidewalks, and it occurs to me that in the absence of the April meeting and Councilor Gamble's request, and just so staff does not have to entertain multiple requests, that we should probably have sort of a unified meeting to update that across all districts. And so I appreciate the reminder, Council Lady Gamble. So, in the intervening time, colleagues, you're always welcome to be in touch with Mr. Hammond and Ms. French as to the status of a project that might be in your district. But by way of, to your point, Council Lady Gamble, of a broader summary, we are behind on delivering that for the body and for the general public to see, because I think Councilman O'Connell concurs with me and a lot of the returning members. Nashville has for many years created a lot of plans, but then we kind of fall away from those plans as far as community awareness and accountability and really working the plan. So I think it's important that we continue to have an annual Walk and Bike Strategic Plan update meeting. And based on how it went last year, I might suggest that we separate and maybe do kind of bikeways, paving, traffic calming, and maybe sidewalks separately. But I'm happy to work with staff and get that on the calendar, Council Lady Gamble.
Thank you.
Is there a particular project that, you're welcome to?
Well, like you said, I can reach out to Mr. Hammond, and I have actually for specific projects to my district, but we did discuss at a previous meeting that there would be a report. In the report that they gave us for the spring or summer projects, rather, we had discussed that it would be great to include in that any previous projects that weren't completed to be included in those reports.
Indeed. Okay. Well, I appreciate the reminder. We'll have a kind of reset. Mr. Hammond, is there anything you'd like to comment on that in general?
Not other than I think the last overall type of report we gave was as part of the special sidewalk committee that concluded, I believe, in February, and as we all know, a lot has happened since February. So, with a couple weeks' notice, we'd be glad to put together that and provide that to you.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right. And
thank you,
Mr. Hammond. I think because we are somewhat shorter on time this evening, colleagues, we had thought about kind of giving an update on our open streets. I think we had 6 or 7 of those projects, but I think we might push that to next time unless anybody has any objection. And then Mr. Hammond and I both, and then I know Councilman O'Connell as well, has been in touch with the Nashville Civic Design Center. The mayor's office has participated around kind of sidewalk cafe permits. And or parklet permits. And I think Councilman Parker is going to be having some related legislation coming through our committee next time. And so in the meantime, we may get some information into the OneDrive folder, but I think his legislation will afford us the opportunity to discuss that. And much of that work is still in progress and not necessarily finalized. So unless I kind of see any objection from committee members, we'll take kind of open streets and sidewalk cafe permits, streetery, eatery stuff and move that to the next agenda.
And Madam Chair, I did want to, before we leave ADA, can I jump in on that, please?
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. I apologize. Yep, thank you.
No
You're
problem. Thank you. Mr. Hammond, I guess there is some adjacency between ADA considerations and complete streets, and I wanted to check on something to see how it gets categorized. I've seen a few instances of this, enough that it concerns me, where there might actually be an ADA ramp project that takes out multiple corners at an intersection at the pedestrian level. And so a recent example in just the past couple of years is, for instance, Fairfax and Natchez Trace. I've seen it over also on Harding Pike in the sort of the Hill Center area over there. Does that constitute an ADA violation if you make all 4 corners of an intersection ADA inaccessible while trying to improve ADA accommodation?
Mr. Hammond, you're recognized to respond.
Are you referring to where you might have one large, what appears to be one large curb ramp that kind of goes all the way around the radius of the curve as opposed to 2 smaller curb ramps?
suggesting that when a construction project at multiple corners of an intersection disables the entire intersection from an accessibility standpoint, really from an overall pedestrian standpoint, but certainly and most importantly from an ADA standpoint.
Okay, so during a work zone condition, right. I mean, we work with our permitting office, which is tasked with doing not only car detours, but they are responsible for pedestrian detours as well. And you know, we as a city continue to try and elevate the importance of those. I think a lot of times we look at those and say, well, all you got to do is get across this walk. We think you just got to walk across the street and then come back across and continue on your way. But as we know, that presents sometimes very significant, maybe impossible odds for someone you know who has those accessibility issues. So it is something that we have to continue to try to work with the development and the construction community on to keep those rights of way open and accessible. You can't always do that. And so when that does happen, you know, providing appropriate detour and notice and accessible route around those construction zones.
I guess what I'm also curious about is that would that constitute, if somebody were to report it, I mean, would that kind of incident show up in this report?
I don't think those are logged as part of this report. It could show up as some sort of a short-term request for accommodation, which I believe would need, you know, a heightened level of attention. Sometimes those things are very short and we can kind of work around. We've had those things where we just needed to get out there and move a truck, you know, for instance. Sometimes those things, as you know, in your district, it could be a couple of years. We might have a sidewalk out of service or something like that. And so I would always say that, you know, if those raise ADA issues, those need to be logged so that we are capturing that and can, you know, deploy resources to correct that condition.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman O'Connell, I guess what I hear you asking maybe additionally is, you know, for legislation that we passed last term around, you know, don't block my walk, and conversations that this committee has had about, you know, whether all projects over public sidewalks should have scaffolding rather than alternate path of travel. I am wondering, I'm not sure if it's necessarily by hub or just from a reporting mechanism, you know, our sidewalk closures and permits and so forth. Does that, Mr. Hammond, do you know, does that live as a data set somewhere, or who tracks that? Is that our right-of-way office?
I would have to do some asking on that. I would think it's in our permitting right-of-way office. It could be as part of our development services. I don't think so. I think it's probably more right away. It could be in Army codes. I would just have to ask and see if that data is kept.
Okay, I appreciate that. I think we have one other question. I don't know if Council Lady Allen is still with us. Council Lady Allen, did you want to be recognized with a question on ADA?
Thank you. I have typed it in and I will let Mr. Hammond get to me offline.
Okay, thank you so much. And colleagues, just so you know, Council Lady Allen's questions, just for the record, a prioritization list for ADA, a ranking of ramps, sidewalk slope, driveway slope, sidewalk gaps. Like to understand better how the decision is made to revise an ADA ramp multiple times before a sidewalk gap is filled in, just kind of like the decision tree and some of that data that we're looking for. So thank you, Council Lady Allen. I just read that into the record so that we can make sure we get that follow-up at next meeting. Okay, Mr. Hammond, I'm sorry. I know we got to keep going here real quick as we move into our agenda, colleagues, with our resolutions. This is going to be withdrawn by Councilman Druffel, but I had asked Mr. Hammond to please provide an update because this is the program regarding railroad crossings. So with the agenda, Resolution RS 2020-450, Druffel, Mendez, and others approves an intergovernmental agreement between the Tennessee Department of Transportation and Public Works for the reimbursement of railroad crossing safety improvements at Post Road. And so, Mr. Cooper, I don't know if we necessarily need a motion for a withdrawal, or how do we proceed on a withdrawal?
Typically, it's just an announcement from the sponsor. I would let you know that in Budget and Finance, Councilmember Druffel moved for a one-meeting deferral as opposed to a withdrawal.
Mr. Hammond, I guess I will ask you if we have a letter from Councilman Druffel to withdraw, but he is a Budget and Finance member and he asked for a one-meeting deferral. Are you aware of, I know that you have submitted this to TDOT and anticipate a reply prior to our making a motion. Have you conferred with Mr. Druffel, or do you know what he would like to do on this?
Chair, are you addressing me with that question?
Yes, sir, Mr. Hammond, I apologize. I know that you and Councilman Druffel were conferring on the engagement with TDOT, and so
yes,
again, we have a withdrawal from Mr. Druffel, but he deferred one meeting in Budget and Finance. So
I think I saw the last correspondence you did. I have not conferred with him further.
Okay, Mr. Cooper, can you speak to that at all? And should we defer to the motion of the previous committee?
Well, the letter that you have from the sponsor is to withdraw, so that could be the committee's recommendation. And then if he technically it's a deferral by rule. Well, no, because that wasn't the committee's first deferral. So tomorrow night he could then decide whether to move for a deferral or to withdraw. So
Okay.
the committee could follow his direction, which according to the letter you have is to withdraw.
Okay. All right, colleagues, I will entertain a motion to withdraw, recognizing that Councilman Druffel will be afforded the opportunity to defer if he chooses that to be better at tomorrow's meeting. Is there a motion? Thank you. Okay. And Mr. Hammond, could you just provide us an update from the TDOT perspective of what we're doing at this intersection to make sure we have pedestrian and cyclist accommodations? And then so particular to this Post Road that has triggered this conversation, but also going forward, how Public Works will work with TDOT on similar match projects. I mean, this is a great program because it's a 90-10-10, right, being Metro side of things. So we're grateful to TDOT for this partnership, but also want to make sure that we're getting, multimodal safety, not just for those people in cars. Mr. Hammond, you're recognized for an update on Post Road.
This is a bit of a special example. You all see these railroad agreements fairly often. This is a program from the state Department of Transportation, specifically Rail Safety Office within the Multimodal Division, whereby they prioritize certain crossings around the state for having some crash experience. And when we say that, that means between a train and a vehicle. So that's a special set of locations in and of itself. And so the way it happens is we go out and we do a field review, specifically looking for what evidence there might be that something may have contributed to the train car crash. What we've instructed our staff to do when we send a representative to serve as a stakeholder on those field reviews is be creative, look for ways that we can expand the scope of these projects and do whatever we can to take advantage of the opportunity given to us by the state to improve the transportation network. In this case, we were able to do that and really go above and beyond what is normally done in these projects and to actually rebuild a traffic signal. That's roughly a $200,000 to $250,000 improvement, and our staff did a fine job in doing that. I wish we'd have gone one more step, and that would have been to make sure we had those pedestrian improvements included in that. And thanks to Chair and this committee, that was a great catch by you all and pushed us a little bit on that. We did go back to the state. They agreed that would be fitting to add. It's about a $26,000 add-on to do that. We'll pay 10% of that amount. So it's a great investment for us, and we will add those pedestrian accommodations, including some curb ramps and so forth, to make that intersection accessible, ADA compliant, and just crossable to cross Harding Place there, so Harding Road there. The reason, all of the discussion about withdrawal and so forth, just simply has to do with the fact that we'll be getting a new contract with the state. So we're working to kind of disband the current contract, get that one revised, and bring it back before you.
Okay, thank you. Councilman O'Connell, do you wish to be recognized? I see your hand up.
Sorry, that's stale. I'll pull it down.
Okay, thank you, sir. So Mr. Hammond and Ms. Whitelaw, if you're still online, or Mr. Riveros, I do want to thank staff very much. I mean, this is something that we were seeing coming through committee, seeing somewhat of a pattern, and I'm glad we kind of reset the standard a little bit as to our engagement on this to make sure that, safety obviously is paramount. It's a catalyst for these improvements, but we want to make sure that it's also safe for people on foot and on bike. This happens to be a crossing that I use often, and it's pretty dangerous, but it's immediately approximate to fairly dense for our suburban area, residential, a lot of business uses. And so I know anecdotally that there's just a lot of latent demand of people wanting to get across this crossing and get to, Phillips Toy Mart and Walgreens and all kinds of restaurants and things. And so I know that this will be a real safety win for the community. And I would just encourage colleagues, we also have a lot of things that come through this committee that we often think are just sort of pro forma, stamp it, move it on. But for those district council members and others, if you are familiar with a location, an alley, a crossing, really anything that comes through here, let's all please, give it some close attention, because this is a big win for safety at just 10% of $26,000. So thank you to TDOT and thank you to staff. I appreciate the update, and we will look for this to come back when it gets finalized. So I think we had a motion and a second to withdraw. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, moving on. Resolution 2020-469, Sledge, Murphy, and Henderson amends BL 2020-163 to abandon additional easement rights for property located at 1131, and I can't quite see this, 4th Avenue South. And Councilman Sledge, I believe, spoke with water staff. I believe this is particular to water. Is there any update from staff or Councilman Sledge on this resolution?
Hey, Councilmember. Chair, this is Councilmember Sledge. I'll defer to water on this. We did speak today, and I think they could probably describe it better than I can.
Okay, somebody from the water department, you are recognized. You may unmute and speak to what this resolution is, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, can you hear me okay? This is Jim Snyder.
Yes, sir, Mr. Snyder, you're recognized.
Okay. Yes. Bill 2020-163 back in March realigned a 48-inch sewer around the perimeter of the property. And so this is just amending that legislation to include some additional easements that were sprinkled throughout the parcel. So basically it just cleans up a few other easements that are not needed. And so that's basically it.
Okay. I appreciate that. And I also, too, I just wanted to ask from the staff side of things, from a caption standpoint, it would be helpful to know, I think we had initially thought perhaps this was a public works matter, and we understood this to be a transportation corridor that was somewhat constrained. And so just wanted to make sure that Councilman Sledge was aware of what was going on here. So, it's helpful for us on the committee side to be able to tell from that caption, is this for water or is it public works? So with that, and the sponsor requesting a one meeting, Councilman Sledge, you are recognized again if you would like to share what you would prefer to be the motion on this.
Sure, Chair. I'd prefer that the committee move to approve. I'm familiar with the site, and you're absolutely right, Chair. This is a very important transit corridor, and in fact, thankfully, and I'm glad to say that we've upgraded the bus stops over on that intersection recently. So with no impact on the transit or walkability of it, and I think it'll improve actually once this project is done. I'd ask the committee to recommend it.
Okay. Do I have a motion for approval, colleagues?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, you recommend approval. Thank you, Councilman Sledge, for your diligence on this and staff for the follow-up. Okay. RS 2020-493, Mendez, Henderson, and others approves an amendment to a grant from the Tennessee Department of Transportation to Metro Public Works to conduct a comprehensive litter awareness and reduction campaign involving various community partners and a roundtable of government agencies. We have a letter from the sponsor to approve. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, with a motion and a second, any discussion? Are there any questions for staff, or does staff wish to give a 30-second, 1-minute update on litter awareness and reduction?
Madam Chair, I'd be happy to give a quick update if that's okay.
Thank you. Ms. Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you very much. So this is a extension on the grant. Because of COVID-19, we were not able to continue all of the education programming and community cleanups that we had originally planned to do. So TDOT very kindly gave us an extension through the end of the year. This grant has focused a lot on educating people about why litter is bad and also promoted our Adopt a Street program. We have doubled our Adopt a Street folks in the last year, which we're really excited about because that's more of a long-term solution than a short-term one-off community cleanup. So we're very grateful and appreciate you all being interested in what we're working on litter prevention.
Okay, thank you. Colleagues, does anybody have a question for Ms. Smith about litter prevention? I see Council Lady Allen, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I asked a question in the budget meeting about how this money was used, and my second question would be, if there are locations that clearly look like they desperately need to be adopted, is there a way to work with y'all to try to raise community awareness about, I mean, I think there are just some areas where there's no one who will take ownership. Just trying to figure out how to not just let that happen, to try to be a little bit more proactive in trying to find somebody that would address those. Any thoughts on that?
No, I think that's great. And we're actually working on a list of streets that we would like to have somebody adopt. TDOT has a really good example where they actually show, and actually a lot of other cities do this, where they show streets that have a lot of litter and encourage groups to adopt those. So we're actually, in fact, we talked about it today, working on a list of areas that we would love to have people adopt and appreciate any help getting the word out.
So we could send pictures, for example, and give you addresses and ask if that could be added to the list.
Absolutely, and also any organizations you think might be interested in adopting would be appreciated as well.
Will do. Great. Thank you so much.
Okay, colleagues, anybody else with a question for Ms. Smith? Councilor Gamble, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. And I want to just reiterate the great job that Ms. Smith and Beautification does in litter awareness and Adopt a Street program. I don't know if I missed it, but I wanted to hear again, what is the new time frame for this grant? Since it's been extended for COVID, is there a new time frame for the litter awareness campaign?
So it runs through the end of the year, but which is what TDOT did for all of their grantees. But I'm not sure that we're going to need that much time because we literally are down to the wire. We didn't have a huge amount. The legislation that went through shows significantly more money than what we have because at the same time that TDOT sent over the contract, we had sent in an invoice. So we probably will finish up sometime in the next few months.
Okay. Thank you.
And thank you.
Okay, thank you, Council Lady Gamble. Let's see, Council Lady Hurt, you're recognized.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. And Councilman Gamble made me trigger something in my head. I remember Mr. Lawrence Jackson telling me that it takes 16 years for a cigarette butt to disintegrate. And if we're talking about spending the money and how we spend it, I would hope that you would consider some little radio ads or some ticker, the little ticker tapes on television, like on the news channels, that says that it takes that long for cigarettes to disintegrate. Talk about how much trash is out there, how much we need to pick it up, because people listen and they watch television, they listen to the radio and watch television. Maybe if we showed them and they heard it, it would be to think about, littering. But if they don't know it and they're not educated about it, then they tend not to comply as much. So I just wanted to make that point, because this was probably 15, 17 years ago that Mr. Jackson helped us with the cleanup on Jefferson Street, and I never forgot it.
Oh, you are absolutely right. And cigarette butts are the most littered item in America. So a lot of people think they're biodegradable, and they're not. They're just going to be around forever, and they end up in storm drains. I really appreciate you bringing that up. Cigarette litter is my least favorite litter of all litter. I wish there was more people littering money, but they don't seem to do that.
Ms. Smith, can you speak to, as far as our roadside litter, I mean, I recognize cigarette butts the most littered thing in America, but, when we have our community groups come out, or when I, hop in the ditches in my neighborhood to do that, it's a lot of soda bottles and plastic bags and things like that, and I think it's, harder from a cleanup standpoint, obviously, when community members are so kind, right, to do that, to be saying, picking up these teeny little bits of something that have actually been in somebody's mouth, so I concur with Councilor Hurt, ounce of prevention, pound of cure kind of thing, that, I feel like you all do some outreach kind of down on Broadway a little bit sometimes, particular to cigarette butts and special events like the NFL and things like that. But I as well would like to see that just, more broadly, elevating community's awareness about that. So I concur with Councilor Hurt on that. Thank you, Councilor Hurt. Okay, colleagues, anything else for Ms. Smith related to litter? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. You recommend approval. Okay, scrolling on down. Almost done. RS 2020-494, Bradford, Mendez, and others, authorizes Metro Water and Sewerage Services to enter into a utility relocation contract with the Tennessee Department of Transportation to construct the Donaldson Pike relocation from taxiway bridges over Donaldson Pike to I-40 located in Davidson County. We have a letter from Councilman Bradford requesting approval. Thank you, Mr. Nash. And a second. Okay. Councilman Bradford, are you present? Anything you want to share about this? Okay. I do not see Councilman Bradford present. Okay, any other questions from committee members? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, you recommend approval. Okay, moving on to page 3, resolution 2020-495, Bradford, Mendez, and others. This looks exactly like the previous one, and I guess we could have taken those together. Sorry, colleagues. 495 authorizes Metro Water and Sewer Services to enter into a utility relocation contract with the Tennessee Department of Transportation to construct the Donaldson Pike relocation from taxiway bridges over Donaldson Pike to I-40 in Davidson County, which is verbatim the same thing as 494. So do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay. All right, and here we are. We moved this RS 2024-99, recognizing the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, to the top of our agenda, so that Mr. Hammond could speak on it in staff report time, and we could acknowledge and thank Council Lady Stiles. Mr. Cooper, can you remind me, because we were kind of in staff report time, did we actually make a motion and pass this, or I don't recall voting on this? Can you remind me?
I agree. I had it marked to come back and vote on, so I don't think we actually did take a vote. I think you're right.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Move. Second.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Is there anyone on the committee objecting to being signed on to the 30th anniversary resolution of Council Lady Stiles? Anybody not wanting to be signed on? Can't imagine that, but I will look. Mr. Cooper, can you do that for us? I don't know if Council Lady Stiles will request that of the entire body, or but if you could make sure that all members of the Public Works Committee are signed on to this resolution, please.
I'll have that noted on the Vice Mayor's agenda for the sponsor to make that request tomorrow during the meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. That works. Okay, colleagues, this is the almost last on our agenda, and I think we're not going to have to stay on this too long because it was deferred in Budget and Finance. But BL 2023-90, Mendez, Murphy, and Henderson grants a franchise to Google Fiber LLC to construct, operate, and maintain a fiber optic communication system within Metro under the provision of the Metro Code. This was deferred one meeting in in Budget and Finance. So I would entertain a similar motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. By way of kind of discussion or explanation before the vote, I do want to point you all to the Public Works Committee OneDrive. There is a lot of content in there from ITS staff, from Terry Costonis and Metro Legal, who very kindly last year, when we had our first franchise agreement kind of coming through, or not our first, but one, she did sort of a primer of what these are and kind of what this landscape is. Obviously, Council Lady Allen, would you mute, please? Council Lady Allen, thank you. Obviously, telecom installation has a lot of implications on the public right away. Most, I guess 50% of the members of this body, when we first came into office in 2015, it was like kind of the Wild West of Google and AT&T chasing them around town, trying to get all this fiber down and really breaking up the right of way quite a lot. So I know that Council Lady Vercher had an inquiry for Google. So as we're going to defer this one meeting, I would just encourage everyone to look in the OneDrive at kind of the email explanation of this particular franchise agreement, but also just understanding a little bit more of this space. And then if you have any questions for Google or staff before next meeting, I would ask that you get those to Mr. Cooper, please, so that if Google is able to join us or answer the questions in the intervening time, we'll be prepared to address this when it's back before us at next meeting. Anybody else seeking to be recognized at this time? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second to defer one meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, you recommend a one meeting deferral. Okay, almost done, colleagues. Hang in there. BL 2023-92, O'Connell, Mendez, and others authorizes the acquisition of an interest in 2 parcels of real property and the granting of an easement in those same parcels in connection with the development of a project in downtown Nashville. Chair, Mr. O'Connell, you are present.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to make that motion?
Sure. Chair Emeritus, if you please, Madam Chair.
Yes, yes, sir.
This just briefly, I do recommend colleagues move this for approval. I just got updates, I think right before the weekend on this. I did have an adjacent property owner express some concerns, but credit to Public Works staff who jumped right on it, engaged. The project team did as well. I believe we have resolved all those concerns. I had a brief update in Budget and Finance on the same thing. If I am wrong about that, I'm waiting for confirmation coming into tomorrow's meeting on all of the points, but I believe we are ready to go on this one, and I recommend committee approval.
Okay, so we have a motion for approval. Is there a second? Second. Okay. By way of discussion, Councilman O'Connell, we're just, development of a project in downtown Nashville. That's a little ambiguous. What project is this and where is it located?
I don't know why the project was described this way. It is, I believe this easement is, the project will be taking place, I believe, on the parking lot that is owned by Christ Church Episcopal on Broadway, but the project itself extends, I believe, up to the intersection at Commerce. So it's just a redevelopment of a parking lot into a building at urban scale, and they were trying to sort out some of the back of house issues because it will wind up using alley access for a couple buildings that have Broadway addresses.
Okay, I am recalling this as well. Yeah, I wish that the caption again had said specifically where this was, because that would have been helpful to the. I can't
speak to that as I did not draft the caption. I've just been kind of tracking it from a legal and referral standpoint.
Understood. So yes, note to staff again on those caption descriptions. Councilman O'Connell, it's best I recall from this, because the alley was involved, I think my primary concern, as colleagues know, I bring this up a lot, that downtown, we want to keep every single alley that we can.
This does not close an alley, to my understanding. So this one actually just changes. I think at one point in this, I can't remember if it's this one or adjacent one, there was actually a piece we had, I believe, worked on already that maybe was an aerial piece to go over the alley, but there will continue to be alley-based access, I believe, and I'll go double check on all the drawings that I've seen, because Public Works did share a bunch of materials with me over the past couple weeks.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
But this is not an alley abandonment.
Understood.
To that point.
Yep. I just remember there was an alley implicated somehow that maybe over or around or okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much. So we have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Alrighty. Whoops. Okay, BL 2023-93, Taylor, Murphy, and Henderson abandons existing sanitary sewer main, a sanitary sewer manhole, and easements, and to accept a public sanitary sewer main, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements for 4 properties located at 3837 Dr. Walter S. David Boulevard. We have a
letter to approve
from the sponsor. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I apologize. I should have invited or asked if anybody had any questions prior to the vote, but I will look if you did have a question or any objection or anything. No, I see no raised hands. Okay, all right, thank you. Moving on. BL 2023-94, Cash, Murphy, and Henderson authorizes Metro to accept permanent and temporary easements for the Cedar Lane Stormwater Improvement Project for 2 properties located at 2005 and 2007 Cedar Lane. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Councilman Cash, I see you're present. Thank you so much. Anything you want to share about the Cedar Lane Stormwater Improvement Project?
No, I think it's a pretty routine stormwater improvement.
Okay, I see Council Lady Allen. I know that's nearby to her district. Council Lady Allen, did you wish to be recognized regarding Cedar Lane? I've heard you speak of it in the past. So,
if I may, I just want to ask, having fielded a number of stormwater questions in that area, how that particular project was chosen, if anyone can speak to that.
Can someone from Metro Water speak to the Cedar Lane Stormwater Improvement Project? Mr. Snyder, are you still present
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
recognized?
sorry, I was trying to get to my unmute button.
Hey, sir, Mr. Snyder, you are with Metro Water. You're recognized.
Yes, Councilmember Allen, this is one of our projects that was listed as the next one up. I can get the location and the listing for you, but all of our projects are communicated and listed as it relates to that type of thing.
So can you just tell me a little bit more about the prioritization project? I mean, I'm guessing this is not a really big, expensive one, so maybe it's easier to get to than some of the other ones that have felt more pressing, just from a complaint standpoint.
That's right, and then once again, the budget that's allocated for the stormwater program, and this is one that we were able to fit in and take care of. Yes.
Okay, can't complain about that. Just wanted to know. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, anybody else with a question or wishing to be recognized? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you recommend approval. And with that, we've gotten to the end of our agenda. Thanks for everybody's patience. I know we got a late start. Is there anybody else on the Public Works Committee or Public Works staff wishing to be recognized by way of an announcement or anything like that? Okay, seeing none, colleagues, we are adjourned. Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.